Hi guys, Nigel here, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here's a review that I know you've been looking forward to seeing. Here we go. There it is. This is the Trumpeter 1/200 scale Titanic with LEDs. There's quite a few reviews have already been done on YouTube, so if you've already seen those reviews and you didn't like it, then switch off now. But none of the reviews I've seen go into a hell of a lot of detail. In fact, most of them don't even open the kit parts, so I won't do that. I'll do a proper close-up review and you'll get to see everything, but it's probably going to be a long one. Come join me. Right, I got the box here on the bench now on its side, and I'm able to move the box along in front of the camera rather than move the camera along the box, so you get a nice steady image. So here on the side of the box, this box is massive, and by the way, I weighed it when I got it and it's nearly 9 kilos. It's 1.4 meters in length, the box, so big old lot of stuff. I haven't looked inside yet. I'm saving that for sharing with you guys. So on the side of the box down this side, we've got the side of the ship here. There's the port side with our goldy yellow funnels and the white and all the lovely structure on here, and the railings and the black and the red, and there's lots of discussion about correct colours and blah 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 blah, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion going forward, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of really accurate information out there, because there really are some experts on this subject, and I'm looking forward to reading some of the stuff they've got. I've actually ordered a book from Amazon, which is apparently a very good modeller's guide to help you make an accurate model, although making a fully accurate model, it sounds like, is pretty much impossible, because no one actually really knows every intricate detail on the ship, because there aren't many photos of it, because obviously it didn't exist for very long. You can see here we've got the our decal sheet here with all our ensigns on. So the first one we got here is this is the ensign of the Red Star, and that basically flew all day atop the main mast, from mid-morning till night, till sunrise till sunset. And then we've got the French ensign here. That was actually flown entering Cherbourg. It was taken down before it left Cherbourg because it was night time, so these ensigns only flew in daylight hours. On the stern here we've got the blue ensign, which is basically showing the nationality of the ship, and it's showing that also some of the crew were from the Navy. And then also in the kit you get the American ensign there, which at this period of time should have 46 stars. Where am I? Here I am. This period of time it should have 46 stars if that ensign is accurate. And then we've also got the ensign here of the Royal Mail, which should fly half-mast here. So there we go. We get 7 sheets of photo etch. There's 4 of that one and 1 of each of those. You can see here's a lot of railings, some railings on here, some bits and pieces, and this is all mainly windows and everything in that one. And then when I move across here, you've got some history about the ship, which I'm sure you all know already, and there's lots and lots of documentaries, and of course you've got the famous James Cameron movie. So that's that there if you want to read that. And then here we've got some, again, saying product is not a toy, 300 quid. I shouldn't think it is a toy. On the subject of price, obviously I got this from Antiques. Antiques are doing this for £339, which is very cheap, very reasonable indeed. They've got 6 or 7 in stock, I think, so if you want to get yourself one, get on over there, and if you ask them nicely, they might even do you free postage. So tell them Nigel sent you. So there we go. I can't quite get to the end of the box here, but there we go. You can see the Trumpeter logo in there, and one of the reasons I bought this kit is to say thank you, a big kudos to Trumpeter, because I wish other manufacturers would do it. I know this is twice that Trumpeter have done this. They were going to release it. They withheld the release because of inaccuracies, and as I say, the Titanic experts out there pointed out the inaccuracies and then helped them to change those things. The one thing I have read, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, please let me know in the comments below if you do know. I have read that the update kit you can get to go with this contains some of the modifications. So whether this kit has still got some inaccuracies in it that the update set replaces, I don't know. But if that is the case, then you know, it's a shame. You're gonna have to spend more money and get that upgrade set. So there we go. I'll turn the camera off now. We'll flip the box over and have a look at the other side. Okay, so we can see here There's a built-up model, obviously unpainted, and we've got the LED kit fitted in there, showing it all lit up. There are some issues with this LED kit. There's a couple of reviews on YouTube. If you go and look at Aussie Trekkie, he's got a channel where he does a lot of ship modelling, and he's actually pointed out some of the issues, and like for instance here you've got the lights for the funnels are basically just LEDs which are just stuck into the top of the deck, so you know, not really very accurate. I would imagine that if there were indeed lights there that lit up and shone up the funnels, I would imagine they would have been in some sort of encasement like you see where you get lights outside buildings. I would have assumed there'd be some sort of box with the light in it looking up. So you know, wait for the additional set to come out, and I think we'll see some difference in there. You'll also notice that all of these portholes on the side of the hull are all blocked in, so there's no light shining through them. So again, you know, there's some extra work needed there, but you may be able to make this LED kit work for you with just, you know, what's in the box. Let's wait and see. I know there's one other guy fairly local to me who's building this. He's decided not to use the LEDs. I may do the same. But as I say, Aussie Trekkie's really hit out and said this is, you know, pretty bloody awful. So I don't know, we'll see. So moving along the box here, we can see we've got the bridge there, and we've got the forecastle there, and all the photo etched railings all included in the kit. We've got some anchor chains here which are included, some little photo etched bricks, ladders and steps and bits and pieces and stuff, and there's some rigging there by the look of it as well. And then also you've got the LEDs in here. Another cause of concern is these massive navigation lights. They look way too big, but you know, we'll look into this when we see our documentation, our books and everything. We'll look into it, and I'm sure the internet will be full of Titanic stuff. Some other bits and pieces here. We've got the ladder detail on the funnels. We've obviously got all the rivet detail moulded in. I think they're a one-piece moulding, which is a nice touch. And then we've got the clear dome there looking down inside. And then we've got obviously LEDs in here. And as you can see here is what we're talking about, with the LEDs just stuck on the surface looking up at the lights, at the funnels. So I'm not sure that's particularly correct. And then here we've got the covered in walkways, again all lit up, and it's giving you a basic look down the ship from the stern. And then we've got the stern here, more details around the I'm not sure what decks they are. There's poop decks and all sorts in there. I'm not sure what they are. I don't know, I'm not a naval man. So there's all the different bits and pieces there. And then we've got some more showing the lights. We've got the cranes on the back here, the 4 cranes, little walkway there. And then finally showing us the area with the LEDs lighting up the funnels, and we can properly see there they are literally just LEDs just sort of protruding through the surface. So not the best, but and I'm not sure, is that under there, is that the grand staircase? I'm not sure. We'll soon find out. So let's have a look inside this box. Okay, so this is the top right side of the box, and we can see here these are the people that have had credit to their name, and you can read that yourself there. And this is what I'm saying, they actually pulled the model and made corrections. So there we go. Right then guys, I've gone back to the tripod view now, so I'm over here, and so now we can have a look at the kit like this. And what we'll do is I'll take the lid off for the first time. So we'll stick the lid over there, and we've got something stuck in the box lid there. So we'll get the box lid out of the way. Smack myself in the glasses. Okay, so got some paperwork there, and we can see here that it's upside down, but never mind. You can see here the typical, normal, beautiful Trumpeter packaging that many of the manufacturers need to take on board. And we can see that it's all in individually boxes. Obviously the hull is in there, there's some tape here holding that shut, and then we've got the LED set down the end, and then we've got all these boxes holding all the separately bagged sprues, and many of those sprues are already wrapped in foam for protection. So really nice to see. Thank you Trumpeter for taking so much care in your packaging. It really does make a big difference. You know, people like Roden for one need to take note, you know, that instead of just chucking everything in one bag and chucking it in a box, and Airfix for example, yeah, it's good to see that companies like Trumpeter do this, and Hobby Boss. One of the best package kits I've ever seen is the Hobby Boss 1/72 scale Dora railway gun, and you've also got that Avant-Garde model kit's MiG-31. That's a pretty good exercise with packaging as well. Anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get this hull out and have a look and see what it's like, and then we can get to the bench. If I can find a bloody knife, and then we can get to the bench and we can start looking at these parts in detail. So just cut that tape there. I hope this isn't all going to collapse. No. So we've got the hull in here. We've got some beautifully protected in foam. I'm going to have to tip this box back over because the weight of the other boxes is stopping me from getting it out. So tip that over like that, and then we can lift this out and we can have a look at the hull. And there we go, guys. There's the hull. So you can see that overall there. Now, one of the issues I noticed on Aussie Trekkie's kit was his hull's bowed, so it's bent in the middle. This one's not, but it is quite flexible. And another comment has been about how weak the hull is, and it is actually quite weak. It does flex about a bit. But the detail on here is absolutely stunning. There's hours and hours of work to be done here in drilling out these portholes if you wish to do so. But yeah, you've got the third deck. Tiny little portholes in here, all beautifully moulded. You've got all these plates and everything with raised detail. There's no actual, oh yes there is rivet detail up here, which is a really nice touch. I'm not sure if rivet detail should go all the way down, but we'll soon find out. But yeah, we'll look at this close up when we get to the normal overhead shot. But you can see there that it's quite daunting. It's beautiful. We've got some massive sprue connector points down there, which is nothing to worry about. But thanks to their packaging, you can see that this sort of guard that goes around the screw here on the back end, again we'll look at this on the overhead, but that's all protected and everything and not damaged. So yeah, really, really lovely. But as I say, a little bit flimsy, but more of that later. Okay, I think what I'm going to do here is do this in two parts, this review. And I think part A, which will be this one, will be obviously look around the box as you've already seen, looking at the hull, and we'll look through the paperwork instructions and stuff. And then part B, we'll be looking through the rest of the plastic. What I really want to do is give you a good review of the kit where you see close up the moulding and everything, because every other review I've seen is just people getting the bags out of the boxes and, you know, not even taking the foam off. So my intention is to give you a good view. Right, so this is our hull, and as you can see, mine is nice and straight on the sides, which is lucky. It's not all bowed in. And I want to give you a close-up of this detail. So if we just zoom you in here, come out a bit, you can see that we've got a lot of rivet detail on the side of the hull there, as you can see, and all of these portholes that need to be drilled out are all very, very sharply moulded, so that shouldn't be any issue at all. You could maybe even grind away behind them. Trouble is with that is you're thinning something that's already quite flexible. So looking up on the bow, I'll take you basically from front to back. You can see the holes there, they're open. I'm not sure if they're quite correct, but we'll see. And then there's this here, I think that should be open on the front, it's not. So there we go. There's your porthole detail and all your edge detail, or all your plates and everything. You can see we've got some access doors there. All going down. You can see all the rivets along there. It's a big old model. Apparently it's not supposed to be identical side to side. Now I'm not sure if this kit is. We can have a look at that closer at a later time. But, you know, I'm not sure if I'd ever even build this. I just bought it because I wanted to have a look at it. But it is lovely. We've got that detail on the back there, as I say, that's the protector, and then we've got the hinge mechanism for the rudder. You go all the way back up there. And then we've got the detail on the stern around here. which is very nice indeed. Accuracy, I don't know, but it all looks pretty cool to me. So that's our hull. As I say, underneath there's no real detail underneath at all. There's no docking keel or anything, but you've got some massive sprue connections that need to be cut off. They are really huge, and then you've got a seam down the centre that needs to be removed. So we'll went the wrong way. I'll zoom back out, and there's the other side. You can see you've got similar detail, obviously. As I say, apparently it's supposed to be different side to side, but I don't know. I don't know if this actually is or not. That rivet detail is really nice. One of the biggest problems with this model is weathering it, making it look, you know, used. I think you need to build it really as just a brand new looking ship, because it didn't sort of last very long. It's a bit like Bismarck. It's very, very difficult to weather accurately. So I'll put this back away in its box nice and safe, and then we'll have a look at some paperwork. Right, so first things first, getting rid of the glare. Basically got a call out sheet here, or a call out sheet, an advertising sheet showing you the kit you've just bought. So don't quite know why they bothered with that. And then over here we've got some future releases coming out. So there you go. And we've got a 144 scale Vulcan on the way. And then we've got a Beijing courtyard house. 300 parts on 42 sprues. That'd be quite interesting. 1/100 scale, a bit weird, unusual. Here we go. So that's what's coming. Now this is something else that's on the way. It says here March 2020. This is the update set for this kit, and when you compare the prices, looking at some of the prices of other stuff that Pontos make, this is very reasonable. So you've got, this is being made by Pontos in Korea, and I Love Kit in China. I've never heard of them. Maybe they're a manufacturer, maybe they're part of the Trumpeter wing, but they're they've basically got together and they're making this this update set. So you've got, you can see on there, you've got wooden decks, you've got 200 pieces metal parts, so you've got all your screws there and everything, and you've got the 4-blade center screw, and you've got the 3-blade center screw. Apparently rumours are that the center screw may well have been a 4-blade driven by a turbine, but other people say it should be a 3-blade. And apparently on a forthcoming dive they're going to go and see if they can remove some of the sand and have a look and see if it was a 3 or a 4-blade on there. And then we've got 13 lots of photo etched frets, which will be very, very thin and beautifully beautifully cut. And I'm not sure if this is an addition to the kit or if it's a replacement for the photo etch that's in the kit. Knowing Pontos, it will probably be a replacement. Now, if you follow Aussie Trekkie, he had a bit of a rant and said the bit he doesn't like about this is you have to go on to Facebook to order it. Well, I don't like Facebook. He says he doesn't like Facebook, and I don't blame him. I can't stand it. But you can also order it on email. Okay, so it says here, please beware that this detailing set is only available exclusively at Trumpeter China Model Kits at Facebook. Customers can click at the send email at the Facebook site or directly email. So you can actually email them. And I must be honest, I emailed this guy last night, and within 3 minutes I think I got a reply. Absolutely incredible. I replied, within 3 minutes I got another reply, thank you, I'll be in touch when we have more details. So honestly, yeah, really, really good. They might be sort of just wanting to see how many orders they get before they go into production with it. I don't know. So there we go. But if it's got Pontos involved, it's going to be bloody good. And then we've got the colour callouts here for the ship, which are very basic indeed. You can't see them because of the light glare. Very, very basic. Not really too sure that I would. I don't know. It's not very. It's not very. I wouldn't use this as my final decision making anyway, put it that way. So yeah, it's just blank on the back. And obviously what you could do if you really wanted to go to town with this model, you could make it as an Olympic that was used in the war as a hospital ship, and that would be pretty cool. It sounds like the book I was talking about has just arrived. So then we've got the instruction manual, and then we've got our LED instruction manual. So first of all, we'll go through the main instruction manual, and it's what is it? It is 52 pages long, and there's 62 segments to the build. So let me get the camera down a bit closer and we can have a look at what we've got. So front page there, normal sort of trumpeter, showing you what's what and talking about decal application. And then we go into the book, and we've got here, which is a nice touch, we've got some photographs of the actual ship, and there we can see, if you want to decide about the waterline, there it is there. So Titanic sits at the berth 44 on the 8th of April 1912, 10th of April 1912, off of Cowes in the Isle of Wight. Titanic brought to a stop following near collision. Wow. And then here we are sitting in the on the slipway. Some more pictures there, which are very nice indeed. Lovely photographs. There's lots of documentaries around on YouTube and some really interesting stuff with some theories about how it sunk and why it sunk, and fires and not fires, and did it break in half or didn't it break in half, and all this. And yeah, there we go. So as far as I know, it's in two halves on the ocean floor, so as far as I'm concerned, it broke in half. And then we've got some lovely history here, which is basically printed out. So what I'm going to do is pause it there so you can read that. Okay, so if you want to read that, you can pause it, and then coming across here, you can pause that and read that too. And then going over the page, we're straight into the sprue call outs. And see here, we've got all our staircases in there, obviously the hull there, a lot of deck detail, all wood. What I don't know is, would this have all been like beautifully polished mahogany or whatever, or would it have been quite dull matte, or would it have been like a pine, you know, very light colour wood? Please let me know. And then all our sprue call outs here, so you can see we've got the PE there, as I said before, 4 of them and 1 each of them. It actually looks like there aren't many parts, doesn't it? It looks fairly simple, to be honest. There's not really a hell of a lot to it here. Okay, so straight into the build. You're starting off by adding your decks to the hull, and you've got your foredeck and your aft deck there, and then you start straight away on the greeblies. It looks like these are little winches and things. Please excuse me guys, I'm showing you a model kit. I don't know much about maritime stuff, and also I'm not a aficionado on Titanic. I've always had a strong interest in it, but I haven't, you know, I'm not a big aficionado, so some of my technical terminology may be incorrect. I'm sorry. Please don't be aggressive and abusive in the comments below. So and then we're adding the forecastle there, and adding the stern deck there, and then we're going to add bits and pieces to the hull. We've got our propeller shafts there coming out with our screws on the end, and adding the rudder. And then we've got some PE drains there. That'll be some bilge pump drains, no doubt, or it might be cooling water intakes and exhausts for the engines. And then we've got a multitude of PE parts here going onto the sides of all our structure. So we're straight away, we've done the hull, we're now starting on the upper deck. So again, my terminology is probably incorrect, but this is the deck that sits above the covered walkway, I know that. And then building up the side pieces here, these are what go directly onto the top of the hull, and then you can see this is the deck we've just made up, and that's going to go onto the upper surface of there. And then we've got another, oh no, sorry, they're going into there, so they're going into the lower section, and then we're going to add the upper deck there. So that's not the actual upper deck, as I was saying. More structure there, more structure there, more photo etch windows, drive you absolutely crazy. And if you're going to put glazing in there, I recommend this stuff here. Just get it on a cocktail stick, go round, and you'll have glazing. Or you could go behind with some acetate, but if you want it to really be in the frames like it should be, then that would be amazing. So more PE windows there, so we're still building up this upper deck unit. More and more, and it looks like some railing areas going in there. Or is that actual walls? It's actually dividers by the look of it. And then we've got some pillars on the end of here, and then we're going to flip this over and stick it onto the top of the structure we've just built. Excuse me. And then we're going to add some PE ladders, which is a nice touch. And they're going up on the top of the bridge. More PE ladders there. We've got a clear dome going over an area there, looking down in. And then we've got another bits and pieces here. This is for the This is for the navigation lights, and you can see on here, as I was saying, when you look at it before, when you look at this, you've got these huge great lights here. Well, that's actually what they should be, is like that. So yeah, you can see the LED set is a bit over the top. And one other thing, when you actually work with this, okay, you've got these instructions here for the LED set. They don't actually tell you in here, you know, it doesn't say, oh, when you get to this stage, as Tamiya would, refer to page 7 in there. You've got to try and sort of work it all in together. You can't just build it and then put this on at the end. So, and then we're going to add all that superstructure onto the hull, as you can see there. So that scene there is going to be a bit of a nightmare, I imagine. And then we've got lots of pieces of greeblies and capstans and stuff going on there. And there's can't what you call that now, that V thing that goes on the front that directs the waves over the, it's got a special name, I'm sorry guys. And then we've got some little winches and stuff on there. And then we're adding our anchor chains. There's an anchor there going on the front, and then there's an anchor going on each side. You'll have to make up some hawse tubes for the chains to come through if you want to make it more accurate. And then you've got a P grill there, and a little, is that called a divot there? And this is where they stood at the front and did the flying lady thing. More greeblies going on the back. All these tie-off areas, I think they're called capstans, aren't they? And then we've got the more bits and pieces going on the back there, on the stern. Air tubes for the engine rooms. More and more bits and pieces. More and more bits and pieces. And then we're on more superstructure here again, adding in our PE windows. Got a PE ladder there, more PE windows. We've got grills going on the top there with the vents in. Another clear dome going on the top of there. And this is obviously all our first class areas now. And then we've got these parts up here with the grills. These are obviously air conditioners or air vents or something for getting air into the cabin. And then adding that structure on the top, and then building this. I don't know what that is, if somebody can tell me. I remember seeing it on the side of the box. So yeah, I'll learn a bit before I actually do anything with this, if I do anything with this. And then more and more bits and pieces going on here. And then we're adding more structure with the lights and the openings in the top to let the light through. And there's LEDs going under there. And then adding that superstructure all onto the top of the hull there. Building up our funnels. Remember, one funnel's fake, the other 3 are real. So you've got one there, I'm guessing, yeah, there's 4 separate assemblies, so there's never a case of sort of make 4 of these. And we've got these ladders going up here, and then we've got the railings to support them there. And then the same on here, more railings and the walkways around the sides. Adding the funnels to the superstructure, adding in some more detail to the funnels, more detail here, and then we can see we've got the areas here for all the lifeboats. I didn't know if the lifeboats are included. They should be. And then more and more detail going in the top. And then you've got these little pieces going here. I'm guessing these are small cranes or small winches for lifting goods on and off at the dockside. And then we've got these PE doors, so you can actually, I'm not sure if they're replacing moulded doors or if they're in addition to. More ladders going on the front, or more steps should I say. More steps here, more steps here. This is Step City, this page. And then going over the page here, we've got all the little benches, which are absolutely beautiful. You've got to make 40 of those, so probably worth making yourself a little jig. We're looking to doing that to make them up so you can get the right curve in the back of the bench. I'm not sure if they would have been, you know, I think the wood would have been sort of slightly curved, so it would have come up over the back, down, and then across the front, and then rolled the front down, as we know part benches look. And they're all PD27, more D20, more benches going on there. So we've got loads of benches all across the stern, all down the structure there. So great for sunbathing. And then we've got some more little bits and pieces going in there. And we've got this walkway across the top. Then we've got these lifeboat cranes here. They're called divots, aren't they? And then they're all going in there, and then hopefully we'll have some lifeboats to go in. Here we go. So we've got our lifeboats here. No doubt in the upgrade set, all this here will be photo etch. I didn't notice any resin pieces in there, so you'll probably be using the standard plastic hulls for your lifeboats, but you'll probably have photo etch parts to go in the top. And then we're into our railings, which is a mega task in itself. All those railings going on there, lots and lots of them, more and more railings. We're getting near to the end now, guys. And then we've got our crane assemblies here, and they're all made of photo etch, which is a lovely touch. They're going to look great, adding those in there. And then we've got our masts going in. There's the foremast here, and we've got the main mast here, and then we've got these photo etch rat lines, are they called? The little ladders going up the sides. And then we've got another one here, and then more rat lines there going up the sides of them. And then basically we're going to mount it onto our big stand. So there we go. That's the kit. Sorry about my terminology and everything, but basically the idea was to show you what the kit's like and show you the instructions. So turn the volume off if you can't stand listening to me talk. Right then, LED assembling guide. This is the apparently what they're including in the initial release only, but you know what it's like. They'll probably be in every kit that comes out. And I just want to check. We've got slightly glossy paper here. I want to check you can actually see what we're looking at. No, you can't. So we'll get the light up out of the way, and then you can see. There we go. Right. So this is the bit that so many people have complained about. I don't know. It's in there. You can use it on something else if you must. But it's basically the same as normal Trumpeter instructions. It starts off with your parts list, and you can see you've got LED cord there, and then you've got all your different LEDs called out, resistors and everything. And then straight in it's telling you to cut at the small scissors. Cut it out the small scissors between the two lamps as shown below. Okay, so they're showing you there's little scissor marks in there, so it's showing you where to cut them. So we've got to drill holes in the hole. It's very, very step by step there. So we're going to add our USB wire. So we've got this USB wire that comes out with a switch. So that's just going to go in the bottom of the hull. And then adding heat shrink, we need to be able to do some soldering. You could always twist these wires together, I guess, if you really had to. And then it's telling you to cut out these bands. And then add your add your LED bands to the roofs or the upper areas of the internal structure. One of the things that was pointed out, big issue with this is you've got some fairly large windows around this structure, so when you look in you're going to see these individual LEDs, so it'd probably be best to diffuse them in some way, perhaps put them sort of higher up or further in and mount and put them in a sort of smoked plastic tube or something, or a frosted plastic tube, because you know, you don't really want to you don't want to look through the window and see all these bloody LEDs all beautifully spaced glaring back at you. So basically you can have a look in there and just see it's going on. It's the same old thing, soldering wires, drilling holes, adding wires, soldering wires, drilling holes. So there we go. There we've got this LED strip again here, and as I say, you're going to look through those windows and you're going to see those LEDs. So not necessarily ideal. And here you're connecting them up with wires here. And then we're doing some more drilling. And this is adding those LEDs on the top, and this is what Aussie Trekkie was talking about. You've just got these LED bulbs just sitting on the top, which is ludicrous. It's not at all realistic. So yeah, maybe not use them at all. There we go, we're adding some resistors in here. More drilling, more adding lights to the surface, and then putting it all onto the hull. So what they're suggesting there, by the look of it, is you glue all this on and you connect this wire up here. Now the issue is it's all glued in, it's all sealed. What happens if something goes wrong? And they're suggesting here to connect it to a battery pack, into a 5-volt charging battery. So not quite sure what that is, but even you can see down here, if I give you a close-up, you can see here when you look, you can see the actual LEDs in there, you can see the individual lights, And then these lights on the top, I think they're a bit of a joke, to be honest. But there we go. Especially if you're going to add the upgrade set, you're going to end up with a model with all the details, but you've got these toy lights on it. So there we go, guys. I'm going to call that a day for part A of the review, and part B we'll look through all the plastic sprues.